Hello, welcome to the Hannah's Knit Cottage podcast. My name is Hannah. Today we are wrapping up 2025. Okay, so today is episode 20, and what a better way to start the year than with a nice round 20. You can see I'm not in my usual location at Woolmarket Fibers. I am here at my new house. So thank you to everybody for all your kind words about my new house. I did not mean to be gone for like an entire month, but life has happened and I wanted to come back on here. I have just a couple minutes before I have to head out to an appointment. So I wanted to come in here and go through all of 2025, talk about the whips I'm carrying into 26, and what my knitting plans are for 26. Still a little up in the air, but I have thoughts, and y'all can tell me what you think. If you would like to find me on Ravelry, I'm Hannah072 on Ravelry. I am Hannah's Knit Cottage on Instagram, and I'm going to try to do better in the new year of posting more on Instagram, especially. I don't know if you can tell, I have a window open over here. I have really good natural light in this house, so it makes it really easy to take good photographs. So I'm really pumped about that. So yeah, let's get started. I'm going to start with the first FOs of 2025 and work my way through the year. I'm currently wearing my festival sweater. We'll talk more about it, but I did finish it. So, okay. There's so much knitting over here. So, my first finished object for 2025 was the Yellow Brick Road socks. They are well loved and well worn. You can kind of tell. This was a pattern of my own design. So eventually it'd be nice if this came out. I did do a heel flap and gusset, which is nice and broken and you can tell. So I started these on January 1st of 2025, and I finished them January 16th of 2025. So about 2 weeks to knit these socks. And that was pretty good considering I ended up knitting them longer because this texture likes to shrink in a little bit. And then that's also why I did a stockinette on the back to kind of help stretch the gauge out. So they are great. Love them. Oh, sorry. The yarn is Woolmarket Fibers in the colorway Lemon Meringue in their fingering sock base. So FO number 1. Number 2. If you see me looking over here, I have my laptop because there's just so much information to go through. And I have these whips stacked in order, but I had to stack like 3 different stacks to get everything in here. So FO number 2 is my Ponderosa hat. And this was I got this pom-pom in a Yarnable box, and I obviously did not use it with the Yarnable yarn. This is the Ponderosa hat by Wool and Pine Designs. The yarn is West Wool Tandem in the colorway French Gray. I really enjoyed working with this wool. I enjoyed the pattern. I did not switch needle sizes here like I was supposed to. I think I did it like here. So this part is a little snug on my head, but it still works. And the Ravelry picture of this, I'll have to see if I can pop it on the screen. I love because I was rushing to finish this for the snow day. We had snow, which is a very big rarity around here. So I started this beanie on January 17th and finished it on the 18th. And I'm pretty sure I was wearing it on the 18th or the 19th. It was somewhere in there. So loved it. It kept my head nice and toasty warm during the snow. That's FO number 2. So that's all for January. So I finished 1 pair of socks and 1 hat in January, which is actually kind of low for me, but I think it's because the next project took me a little bit of time. It was a little tedious. So the next project I started on January 23rd and finished on February 9th. This is the Wicked Witch socks. So every year I do Broadway socks. So the Yellow Brick Road and Wicked Witch, I did 2 pairs this year. And these are going to be my last official Broadway socks because I am not working on that team anymore. Not for anything, just took a step back to focus on family. So went out with a bang. I did not know this was going to be my last year with them when I knit these. But anyway, they did the Wizard of Oz. So I did the Wicked Witch socks. And I took Stephen West's Mo Mod socks, which was a modular sock pattern. And I modified it to basically I knit the same thing, but instead of doing a solid color here, I did stripes, and that was a lot of work. And so these took a little bit of time to do. I used Cascade Heritage, I think, for all of these, or the Cascade fingering weight yarn. I like it okay, but you can tell it pills really easy and it fuzzes out really easy. So these socks have not worn well, and I've been rather precious with them, not because of the construction. You would think that this modular heel would be the weak point, and you can see it's not perfectly joined, but it is strong. I went back and reinforced a lot of it. It's just the yarn is making it really precious. So I kind of hate that because these socks are really cool. But I've only worn them a handful of times. So I started them on January 23rd and finished them on February 9th. Okay, I'm trying to organize these in such a way that we can get a whip count when this is done. There's a lot. Okay, so the next one, this one does not have a picture on Ravelry. This is the first garment finish of the year, and I think this was the other project I started in the background with the hat. So you saw me finish the yellow brick red socks and the hat, and there was kind of a lull before I finished anything else. And it was because I had two projects that really were just difficult for two different reasons. The Mo Mod socks were just technically difficult, and then this cardigan. This is the Felix cardigan by Amy Christoffers, and on Ravelry it's listed as Big Hugs from Cher. This yarn was gifted to me. I think this is Noro Kadari. I'll have to see if I can find the yarn. This yarn is discontinued. And if you notice, it gives a really cool handspun effect. And I like that a lot. However, it's hard to tell here. I had troubles with the button band. It was my first like adult cardigan, and I had not really done a lot of button bands before. And then if you notice, the yarn just goes thick thin, and it has like it acts like a handspun. And I don't think the plain stockinette texture was very forgiving with that. So I finished it, and it's looking at it here, it looks a lot cuter than how I have felt about it before. I might just redo the button band. I want to see the button band rolls, and that's just a me knitting problem. But what I'm debating doing, because I love this yarn obviously is special to me. Cher has since moved away from the area. She's moved to be with family, and so since I can't hug her in person, this cardigan to me is like, she always signs off all of her messages with big hugs from Cher, or big hugs. So to me, this cardigan is like a warm hug from Cher that I can't have right now. So what I'm thinking about doing is ripping this cardigan out and I can't do mohair. Mohair makes me itch, but I'm thinking about getting a suri and holding this with a suri because it would even out the texture and maybe help the yarn look better, and knitting something. It needs to be a garment. It needs to be a warm hug, a big hug from Cher. So we'll see. Let me know in the comments. Theoretically, this is supposed to be a worsted weight yarn, and I actually had to hunt down 2 extra skeins of this yarn that's discontinued to knit this cardigan to make sure I had enough of allowance. And then I think I just rushed through it because I was desperate to have it done. And see, yeah, we have like a big red spot here. Just, I don't know. This could make a cool jaunty. It could play well for a jaunty. We'll see. This is probably the one FO of 25 that I'm just like not satisfied with. But I think I'm at a point in my knitting journey where I feel comfortable saying, okay, I can reknit this. It's not a closed chapter. If I'm not satisfied with this, I'm not too afraid to rip it out and reknit it like I would have been before. And more on that later. I feel like this was the year of Hannah learning how to fix her mistakes and make it right instead of just getting through the project and then not wearing it. So put that in a separate pile. Okay, the next FO I don't have, so I'll have to put a picture on the screen. I knit a pair of socks for a lady at my church, Miss Rhonda. I used the Thursday Night Socks pattern by Sock Witchery, and I used Woolmarket Fibers Alpacca sock. I was very jealous when these socks went away because the alpaca sock is very soft and beautiful and wonderful. The texture kind of gets hidden in the patterning of the sock, just the variegation of the sock, but I think they still look cool. The reason I knit her a pair of socks is that she struggles with poor circulation in her hands and feet. So nice warm pair of socks is very useful, especially alpaca, something that will retain the heat naturally and help her retain some heat. So I started those on February 25th and finished them on March 15th, I will probably knit another pair of Thursday night socks because I think that is legitimately one of my favorite sock patterns of all time. All right, the next one's a big one. This was a random, not a random cast on. So I love Caitlin Hunter patterns. We know this. I knit a lot of Caitlin Hunter, also known as Boylan Knitworks. She put out a test call for the King Salmon sweater, and I applied for the test knit and didn't get it. But the Halibut had been in my queue. So with the blessing of my husband, I ordered the yarn and promptly started the Halibut. This was my fish girl year, I think. So this is my Halibut. I love this sweater. I will say I think it has grown a little bit and stretched out a little bit. So I'm going to see if I can block it and kind of shrink it up just a little bit because it definitely wears like a poncho. But here she is. I started this on February 1st and finished this March 30th. So yes, it took a full 2 months. Oh, it is showing up so well on camera, this color work. Just the motifs. I love it so much. So this yarn is Juniper Moon, Patagonia Organic Merino. In the colorway, the maroon is Mulberry and the white is Pearl. I didn't want a bright white. It shows up more bright white on here, but it has a little bit of a cream gray kind of undertone. I love this sweater. I actually wore it to work and I got so many compliments on this sweater. It was so funny. And then Michelle actually knitted me the matching hat. So I was wearing the hat and the sweater to work on a cold day right before Christmas. And I got compliments and I could be like, I made this myself. And they were like, what? You made that? So it was really cool. It was definitely a special moment. So I don't know if you can tell, but we definitely have a trend that 2025 was my year of the garment. That in past years I've knit more socks, and this year definitely I knit more garments. Okay, so the next one I should not still have in my possession, but I do. Next one is Emily's baby sweater. I started this on April 6th and finished this April 12th, and yet it is still not out in the wild. I just need to put the ears on it. So I might even do that tomorrow and get this mailed out because her baby is very soon not going to be small enough to wear this anymore. I did do the 1 to 2 year size. So the baby will be, I think, 1 in like April. So it'll be okay. I used Berroco Vintage Worsted. Did not mark the color. So sorry. But I used 2 skeins. I just got some brown acrylic at the Michaels to do the duplicate stitch embroidery on the front. This is the Flax Worsted by Tin Can Knits. Great pattern. Use the app. They have an app that helps kind of, when you knit their patterns, it isolates the size that you're using so you don't have to worry about, marking off which number you need. So it's really great. Technically, this is a garment. We're going to count this in the baby category because I feel like that's cheating. So let's go on to the next one. And some of these don't have photos on Ravelry, so I'm going to try and get photos and start posting photos of these things and get all of it caught up. I think just life has lifed this year, so I'm going to try and get everything caught up. All right, the next one, I started on March 23rd and finished April 17th. Got another pair of socks, but this I was so proud of. So this is the April Shower Socks by Twin Stitches Designs, and I used the Moonglow Yarn Co. sock set that was originally released when the pattern was released. She usually releases it every year, but I purchased it when the pattern came out, tried to knit this, failed miserably, tried to knit it a second time, failed miserably, tried to knit it a third time, failed miserably, fourth time was the charm. I was so proud of myself for knitting these socks, and I feel like this chart, for the most part, is really easy to knit because there aren't a lot of long floats except like right in this area. And even then, that heart in the middle really helps take it out. And I think that's super important when you're talking colorwork socks. The best colorwork knitters, it's still hard to carry long floats. And it's something that it really does matter when you're trying to put a sock on and you have this long strain of fabric that you're trying not to catch. And also, it's just not going to stretch the same as knitted material. So anyway, I did an Eye of Partridge heel flap in gusset. I love these socks. I don't wear them a ton, and it's not because I don't love them. It's just because I don't want to get them messed up. But these will definitely be more in the rotation. We'll talk more about that in the 2026 plans. Alrighty. Next. Oh, I don't have them here. I'll put them on the screen. They're here in my house, but I don't have time to fetch them right now. But these are my Joker socks. I thought I'd knit these this year. These were the leftovers from my husband's Joker socks. I took them. I made my husband a pair of Batman socks and a pair of Joker socks. I knit my husband two pairs of socks before we got married, and that was his wedding present from me. I knit him a pair of Batman socks and a pair of Joker socks. So I took the leftovers. There were no leftovers of the Batman. I took the leftovers of the Joker yarn, and I made myself a pair of shorties. So it's Woolmarket Fibers, a soft sock in the colorway the Joker in Radioactive Green, and then I had some black in the Shimmer sock that I used. And this kind of became my new shorty recipe. I love wearing these shorty socks. I started these April 12th and finished them April 29th. And I have a feeling that this is kind of going to be my shorty sock recipe going forward. I might play around with different things, but the thick chunky cuff and a short leg, it just stays well on my foot. I love them. I wear them all the time. Okay, the next one, this was a long-standing whip that I was very proud to get off the needles, and I think it was a bingo board square. Remember the bingo board, the thing I started and then never talked about again? Yeah, it's been a minute. So this was started January 27th of 2024 and finished April 30th of 2025, so over a year. And this is the Ashburn Shawl, and I'll have to put up a picture somewhere, but is this the right side? Yes. Here we go. There's the correct side. So she is gorgeous. This is all Woolmarket Fibers. Fuchsia pink. Oh, I don't remember what this one is called. Michelle, comment below if you remember what this one is. And then this is their like navy steel blue. So this shawl, I didn't know about the shape because I just don't have a lot of shawls this shape, but I really have enjoyed wearing it. And I like that the fuchsia, if I don't drop it. People have been joking about how do you put a shawl on? This is how I typically put a shawl on. Like depending on where I'm going. If I want the pink to pop, I could, but if I need to tone it down just a little bit, I'm gonna come back in with this blue. And now I'm not gonna be able to do it on camera. But there's a way, like sometimes I'll do something to kind of zhuzh it and kind of tone down the pink a little bit so you get a pop of pink, but not like in your face pink. So I like this. I've definitely used this at church. I was debating giving this away, and then when I finished it, I was like, no way. There's no way. After over a year of knitting, there was no way. Once I get like a bigger collection, maybe, but I don't have a ton of shawls to my name. And it really is not that I haven't started them. I just haven't finished them. So I don't have them completed. They're stuck in project bags over here. Okay. So the next two I don't have because they've been gifted. I have two gift headbands. I used some acrylic from Hobby Lobby in my stash. It's the Main Street headband by the Main Street headband by Kelly McNeely. They were really quick. It's DK weight pattern. I gifted one to a fellow teacher who works morning duty with me at the bus route. And then the other one I gifted to the secretary at school because they both are a huge help to me. So I gave them each one. I only got a picture of one. The first one I started on May 8th and finished May 14th. The second one I started May 14th and finished May 17th. So really quick patterns. It's a really good gift knit. If you're interested, that would be a great one. All right. And the next, I'm going to go a little bit out of order. I knit two pairs of these. They're a little stretched out. They need to be washed. These are the Colorwork Cuff Club December. So from volume 1. So I knit two pairs of these. I knit one pair for my mom and one pair for myself. And I started my mom's mine I started on April 28th and I finished on May 17th. And I did mine first to make sure I knew what my fit was, but I wanted to make sure that would fit her. So mine, you can tell because it has a pink stripe at the top. And hers, I started May 6th and finished July 1st. So same thing. She loved it, wore it on Christmas. We both had our matching socks on Christmas Day. So that was really, really nice. And it's a really fun tradition, and this year I decided to do it differently. In the past years, I have purchased an Advent skein and knitted through the Advent skein. But last year, as in 2024's Christmas, I was finishing up the socks on Christmas Day, and I was like, look, Christmas is a busy time of year. I don't want the pressure of having to knit for you to have a pair of socks to wear on Christmas. So it's like, are you okay if I do like a pattern and it's not like the mystery or anything? And my mom was really chill. She was fine with it. So I think that might be our tradition moving forward. Maybe I'll purchase 2 skeins of Christmas yarn or something like that. I don't know that I want to do this again because this had a ton of ends, because you had the blue, green, yellow. Then I really couldn't carry from here to here. So all the white was one continuous line, but the pink and green, all of those are ends that were all woven in 2 days before Christmas this year. So it still was a crunch for Christmas, but not the same level. All right, the next one. This is my birthday sweater because this year in 2025, I turned 30. So I wanted to knit myself a birthday sweater. And the perfect pattern came out. It was the Getty Tee by Tanis Lavallee. And Getty was named after Geddy Lee of Rush. So Getty Tee, Geddy Lee, haha. Yeah. Anyway, so I grew up listening to Rush. Love Rush. So it was perfect. And I love the pattern. It mixed crochet and knitting, which I also loved. And I wore it. Let's see here. This is my Getty Tee. I used Berroco Vintage DK. Did I put the color in my Ravelry page? No, I did not. But it's like the dark slate gray. And then I used Woolmarket Fibers Platinum, which is this light gray. And then there was a lilac color. I think it was just a mini. I don't think it was a named color. So I started this on May 11th and I finished it June 25th. So I finished it just in time. And this is really cool because the granny squares are your saddle shoulder. And then you pick up on the back, start the back, and then you pick up on the front, knit down to the V where the arm joins in. It's right about just below the V. And then you do in the round all the way down. I did a split hem. I did do a little mini cable over here to kind of keep the gap from pulling. In the future, I might adjust this a little bit because it still did shrink in. I think it just needs some extra stitches over here to help keep it from shrinking in. So when I wore this summer, I was actually in training this summer. I did Orff Levels, which is a music training for Orff Schulwerk methodology. Anyway, two of my teachers knit. So I walk in wearing this sweater and everybody's saying happy birthday to me, and it was the sweetest. And then immediately they both converge and are like looking at my sweater. You did what? And they were like breaking it down. It was really sweet. So it was really cool to be able to like talk knitting with my teachers who are also music teachers. So like we're, the two worlds colliding. It was great. I loved it. And I love wearing this. I've worn this to work a couple times too, and it's something that you would think our climate gets pretty hot in the summer. So you would think in like July and August when we're in like the 80s and 90s that this would be too much, but as long as I'm in air conditioning. If I was like actually outside all day, yeah, it wouldn't work. But if I was in the air conditioning during the day and I'm walking outside to my car or like on bus duty or something like that, it was fine. So it's been a great sweater. So I started May 11th and I finished it June 25th. All right, this next one. I actually, during the week that I was doing Orff Levels, the 2 weeks I was out there, I started these socks. So these were I started them July 1st. And this is the same Shortie recipe. And this is actually a homespun house, the Pour Some Sugar on Me sock set, and I loved it. This yarn is a little plumper, so I actually think I went down to a 00 to knit these, but I loved these shorties. I think I wore them the last day of classes. I can't remember if I did or not, but these were like my Orff Levels socks that I will always remember that year. And I remember I showed my teacher these socks too. So these were great. Again, I'm loving the big chunky cuff with a really short leg and then the foot. These are like these socks, these are the Joker socks I tend to pull for. If I'm looking for a short pair of socks, even though they do peek out from my shoes, it's fine. I wear them all the time. Okay. Then comes the next one. Started this August 15th, finished it September 14th. Excuse me. This was the Ooey Gooey. I saw the Ooey Gooey. I fell in love. I had to knit it. So this actually, I did it in fingering weight. And I did a little bit of a 3/4 sleeve on it, so you can see. I love this sweater. The only thing I don't like about it is I think I knit it too long. So, and this yarn is really lightweight. I feel like I could have used a little bit of a sturdier yarn. I used, this is Woolmarket Fibers in the colorway Linen, and that one's fine. Then this orange is Linen Quill in the color Sweet Potato, which I love the color. However, the yarn is very lightweight, which is great for summer, but it drapes too much. I think I needed a little more structure. So I don't know what the answer is with this sweater. I wanted to be completely perfectly in love with it, and I'm not. So I've got to figure out, I think at minimum, I'm going to rip out the bottom of it and shorten it a little bit. I'm finding that I like longer sweaters, but I don't need them to like be a tunic. My Getty tee is a tunic, but that was a specific choice for that sweater. I don't think I want all of them to be a tunic. So again, that one was started August 15th and finished September 14th, so just under a month, which I'm really surprised. Sorry, my sweaters are about to take over my laptop. I was really surprised at how quick I turned it, like knitted it. But the color work was really addictive. Like it really, the pattern was great. And to do a fingering weight sweater in a month is pretty good, considering I have some fingering weight sweaters in the whips that are just chilling. All right, next one is my Twists and Turns MCal. I started, oh, I'm sorry. I'm out of order. That one's next. I did Summer Lee's Cuff Club Volume 2. I did the August chart, and I used Holly Press Fibers More Wonderful Things sock set. And this is from her Emma collection that she did a couple years ago. And the cuff was the Summer Lee pattern. And then I just used my vanilla sock for the rest of it. Started this August 11th, finished it September 27th. Loved it, enjoyed it a lot. These just sat in the not woven in ends pile for a while, so they really haven't been worn. They will definitely get worn because they're very comfortable, and I love the cuff. Okay, this is probably the biggest FO of the year. This is the Twist and Turn shawl. This is the 2022 MCal from Stephen West. The ends are woven in. I have worn her out and about, but she definitely is very delicate. This is all single ply yarn by Ching Fiber. The brown is Latte, the pink is Pink Lemonade, and the blue, the teal blue, is Malachite. I love this shawl so much. It is literally a schlinket. It is just massive. It is... I'm not good at this. Can you tell? Oh, anyway, but yeah, I mean, this thing is just a showstopper. Like, it is incredible. This is definitely one I'm precious with this because this yarn is all single ply, so it definitely has a tendency to want to pill already. And I put too much time in this for it to pill. So this sweater, this is my longest standing whip. This was my oldest whip when I finished it. I started this on October 6th of 2022. So the day that MCal launched, I started it. I had the kit from Stephen and Penelope. I was pumped. I did not finish it until October 11th of 2025. So this whip's on the needles for 3 years, which is insane to me. But it was a lot of knitting, like it really was. And I fought through elbow pain to finish this. Like I was determined that this was getting off of my needles this year. And this was the biggest, I think, hill I had to climb. So we're getting kind of in the back half of my whips for the year. So you're going to kind of see my knitting mojo start declining a little bit. So this year, right about this time, the end of September, we lost our dog Ricky. And then at the end of October, so like a month later, we found our house. So then we started shifting into purchasing a home and moving into a home. So my knitting mojo just kind of went all over the place at this point. The next one, I started October 2nd and finished October 16th. These are pumpkin spice socks. I started these for a sock class I was teaching. DK weight socks, just my standard vanilla sock pattern, heel flap and gusset. Love these. They are very comfortable. I feel like I finally kind of hit my stride with my sock recipe. Used a US 2. Woolmarket Fibers Pumpkin Spice DK weight yarn. The next one, I was on a Tanis Lavely kick. I knit the Tahari Tank by Tanis Lavely. I started this July 26th and did not finish this until October 17th. And I think, again, the Ooey Gooey kind of just took over. And so this kind of got abandoned until the Ooey Gooey came back. This got abandoned until the Ooey Gooey was finished. But this is in Yarnable colorways. So this was Yarnable Life is Short, Eat the Donut was the white color, and it has little specks you can see. The blue is Frosty Fox, and then I found my leftovers of my Ashburn tank from Woolmarket Fibers, I'm pretty sure, are the blue that I finished it out with. So I like this one. It's nice. Because I finished at the end of October, it really hasn't been worn. And the bottom hem. I decided to do a folded hem, but I did it too tight on the bottom. So it looks really nice. It looks very polished. However, it is a little tight on me. So I feel like I maybe needed a little extra room so it would just lay. So I don't know. This might be a redo or a rip out and reknit the bottom hem because I like the rest of it. So we'll see. I don't know if it's egregious enough to go through all of that, but we'll see. All right. Then we have my autumn Woolmarket Fiber socks. I was obsessed with this yarn. When they brought this out, I was like, this has to go home with me. I'm knitting a pair of socks. So this is just a vanilla sock. Again, I was teaching a sock class, so this was a great example. Obviously, I was on a pumpkin spice autumn kick. Used a US 0. I started these October 4th and finished them November 26th. They just kind of lingered. They were just a project kind of going on in the background. Easy to pick up and grab. Really simple. Okay. And then, so I finished those November 26th. And you can see like my knitting significantly slowed down. And it was just life was happening. So the next FO is what I'm wearing. This is my festival sweater. This is the festival sweater my size by Petite Knit. Let's see if I can show you here. I modified the sleeves to do a little bit of a poof, and they're slightly shorter just like for my watch and stuff so it doesn't snag. I used Berroco Vintage DK. The red is cardinal and the white is off. It's not off-white. That is not the right thing. This is the mochi colorway in Berroco Vintage DK. I had bought a skein of Ella Ray and it was just too bright of a white for it and I didn't like it. So I went with the mochi by Berroco Vintage and I was much happier with that. I had some leftovers in my stash. Started this October 25th of 2025 and I was like, I'll have this done in plenty of time for Christmas. I finished it December 14th. So I pushed it and the ends literally, I still have some sleeve ends to weave in, but the rest of the ends, it got blocked yesterday and the ends were woven in today. So yeah, it did not get worn on Christmas. It was very, very hot on Christmas, actually. We were all very comfortable in short sleeve shirts on Christmas. So it's very cold today and it's New Year's Eve. So I'm going to be wearing this sweater, I think tonight for church, and then I might wear it tomorrow. So she'll get her time to shine. And then next year, I guess I'm going to knit a short sleeve Christmas sweater. So then it's cold enough for me to wear this one next year. All right, 2 more FOs. The next one is, this was a random cast on. I just wanted something to knit that was not one of my current whips. So I knit the brownstone beanie. This is a pattern by Tori Yu. And I used my leftover, I had 2 different dye lots of fuchsia. One was on the Shimmer sock by Woolmarket Fibers, and the other one was just like the 80/20 sock. So made this. I wanted to test out the size, but I knew I already had a hot pink beanie, so I really did not need another hot pink beanie. So I'm going to give this to one of my husband's friends, has a little girl that I think she's approaching teenagerhood. So I feel like she'll grow into it. So of course I have to try it on to show you. So I really like this. I did not like it as much when I had first finished it, but now that I've blocked it and this is all kind of smoothed out and laid flat, it is really nice. And the cool part about this beanie, it really did fly off the needles. I started it December 16th and I finished it December 28th. And truth be told, the only reason it took as long as it did was just Christmas was happening. But what you do, I'm going to unravel this a little bit. You knit, you start here and you knit you knit for a lot of inches and you come all the way up here and then you seam them together. Once you seam them together, then you take your fingering weight yarn that you've knit single this whole time, you go up a needle size and you hold it double. And you keep knitting and knitting and knitting, and that creates this interior part. So then you have the purl bumps on the outside, and you're like, but wait, what it does is when you fold it over, see if I can get it here. I had it folded over earlier. Wherever you seam to the two together, that becomes your outer edge, which is perfect because it keeps it nice and snug to your head. When people look at your hat, they see the stockinette on the inside, and it means that these two, the purl bumps with it versus the knit, kind of lay flatter together, and it's great. So then you're holding it double all the way up, so then it goes twice as fast, and then you just get your count decreases. You can see I ran out of the shimmer yarn here, and I kind of just held the other one single, but it's not bad enough. I think it'll be okay. I think she'll love it. I mean, what little girl would not want a neon pink hat? And I think the folded edge here is tight enough that it will stay to her head and she can grow into it. So started December 16th, finished December 28th. Of course, I looked at myself and I said, hey, it's December 28th. I have time to knit more things, right? And that's why this video is being filmed today and not on the 29th of December, which it should have been. So on the 28th of December, I said, I'm making myself mittens. So I started them December 28th and I finished them today, December 31st. These have been in my stash for a long time. The pattern is the Snowdrift Mittens by Wool and Pine. The yarn is the Westful Tandem French Gray that I started the year off with. And I have not woven in ends because they literally just got done. But are they not wonderful? This is the small. I used the call for needle size, and I wasn't going to because I typically a loose knitter, but I decided to go with it because it is cabled, and I'm so glad I did. I went and got my car serviced yesterday, and yes, I was in the car dealership knitting a mitten. And somebody was like, well, what are you doing? I'm making mittens. That's what I'm doing. So I thought it was really cool because my second FO of the year and my last FO of the year are the set that I bought this for. So the goal was, I don't know if I can get this on my head or not. I might need to take the mitten off to get this on. Okay. So the goal was, yes, this is a little snug and that's why it doesn't lay right and it wants to stick up straight on my head, but it is what it is. So the goal was when I go outside for the winter time for morning duty, that look at me. The thumb is a little tight on these mittens, I will say. The thumb is a little more narrow and I knit it a little extra long and I'm glad I did. But yeah, I have a matching set for morning duty. So I will look the cutest out there on my morning duty. And the cable patterns are not the same, you can tell, but they go together. And I think it's cool that they're not matching, but they match. So that is all of my FOs for 2025. So in total, I made 25 items in 2025. Yes, I'm going to keep this hat on because I know my hair's a wreck under there now. So I made 25 items in 2025. And at first I was very disappointed because in previous years, I was looking at when I started tracking in Ravelry in 2022, and my highest year was 37 and my lowest was like, I think 31 or something like that. Like, so I've always been in the 30s on my finished objects. So to not finish even 30 objects in the year, I was really disappointed at. But then I started really looking at the items that I had finished, and this is by far the most garments I've ever made in a year. I did not realize how many garments I had made this year. So 6. So like every other month I was finishing a sweater or some sort of garment, which is crazy. I finished a massive Stephen West MCOW shawl after 3 years. I finished another long-standing shawl, and I still managed to put out, I think, let's see how many socks we got here. 9 pairs of socks. 9 pairs of socks, 2 hats, and a pair of mittens, and a baby sweater. So I mean, like, and I got back into cross stitch, and and I dealt with a very sick animal. She needed a lot of care near the end of her life, so we handled that. We bought a house. We moved into a house. We hosted Christmas at the house. We're going to be hosting New Year's at this house. So I've been doing all of those things. So it's like, you know, I think 2025 is pretty good. All right, after a brief set change here, let's talk 2026 plans. And you're like, but wait, Hannah, you said you were going to show your whips. Yes, we're going to combine it all together because they're interconnected. So I did the math. If you look on my Ravelry profile, you will see that I have 6 active whips. One of them is a Stardew Valley project, and that one is not being counted in this total. So that leaves 5. 5 active whips, all of which are kind of beefy, that are being carried into 2026. So what my goal is to take one active whip instead of just saying you can only work on your whips, because I think I would burn out. And that's why they've been sitting for so long. It's just they're bigger projects. They take more brain space, and they needed maybe a place where you could spread them out on a table and work on them there. And that wasn't something that I could readily do before. I can now, and I have since I moved here. It's been really nice. I'm actually at the dining table right now, and I have been at the dining table very frequently working on my knitting because it allows me to spread out these bigger projects. So what the goal is, if there are 5 active whips, the goal would be to take every 2 months, it's 1 whip. So for January and February, I would have 1 whip, long-standing whip that I figure out, okay, what do I have to do every day or every week to have this whip done at the end of February? Now, some of these will, as we get there, I think one of them will probably take 3 months to finish because it is just that big of an undertaking, and I don't want to rush it. And I don't want to just push through it either. Like, these are all important things. I want to enjoy the process. So I don't want to just force myself to knit all the time, which I think is why the bingo boards have failed in the past. Anyway, so we'll start with that. I'm going to go through those whips. We're not talking about the Stardew Valley one. That's a whole other separate project that, if it comes to fruition, I will let you know. So the first whip, and I'm sorry if there's crinkling, the first whip that I do have is my Come Back Again, my Andrea Mallory. This is a cardigan that she released in 2025. And I'd started the sleeves, and I think I messed up on the sleeve size. I should have gone up a size in the pattern. And then by the time I figured out what was going on, I couldn't remember where I was at in the increases or any of that. And it's bottom up. So I think I'm just intimidated by this. This project is in North Bay Fiber in the Mallard colorway, which is the exact same yarn that Andrea Mallory knitted in. And this was a birthday gift from my mom. I cast this on July 30th of 2025. And obviously I have not gotten very far. I have 2 pockets and the cuffs of sleeves. So this is going to be a complete frog and restart. But I think this is what I'm going to start the year off with. I'm motivated to work on it. The idea of working on a texture pattern like this interests me. I'm a little burnt out on stranded color work, which we'll get to in a second. So I think that this is a really good start. So forgive the mess. This is in a bag by Sassy Sacks by Yachty on Etsy. I love her bags. They hold a lot. They've served me well. Handle's nice and large. Love it. I have too many whips. All right, the next one, this, I have oodled over this pattern. This is in a bag by Michelle from Woolmarket Fibers. I won this at our Christmas party a couple years ago. So this is the King Salmon Light by Caitlin Hunter, also known as Boylan Knitworks. I started this sweater, was obsessed, loved it. And then I realized I had picked Fire on the Mountain is the pink here by Woolmarket Fibers. And I picked a green by Woolmarket Fibers. I don't remember what that green was called. Actually, do I still have it here? No, it must be in my stash. It wasn't, the green was not contrasting enough. So I knew I needed to switch. So I ripped it out and completely restarted. And this is Steel by Polka Dot Creek. So this sweater I love. Love the sweater. The process of knitting it is long. This is a fingering weight yarn on a US 2. So I think what happened is that the yoke of the original King Salmon is just so deep that a lot of people, when they would raise their arms, the whole sweater would come up because the yoke is down to like here. So it would all come up because it's all, attached. which is one of the downfalls of a circular yoke sweater, that it's all kind of interconnected. And so here it's going to come up from here because my yoke is down to here, even though my arm stops here. Anyway, so then when I think when Caitlin Hunter converted it to be a fingering weight pattern, she was trying to shorten that yoke depth so that more people would want to knit it, which is fair because that was my hesitation in knitting it. I was obsessed with it the second I saw it. I saw the yoke depth and saw the reviews, and I was like, I can't, because we don't get cold enough around here to use a sweater as a sweatshirt too often, so it really just wouldn't be a practical item. So I saw the fingering weight version. I eyed it all during testing. I applied for the test knit. I didn't make it. So then it was on Ravelry, so I just followed the test net the whole time, and I was just waiting to see when it was going to get released. Cast it on pretty quickly after release, and then kind of stalled out. And I don't think it's anything to do with the pattern, besides it being on a US 2. It's really dense stitching. There's a lot of stitches in there. It is probably comparable to that Stephen West MCal shawl, and that's just a lot. And then I had done a lot of stranded color work this year, so I think I just burned myself out on stranded color work, and I needed a timeout. So this one's going to sit in the corner. It's going to come out because I do want to wear this in 2026. I think it'll get done next year. It just needs its time to rest. And then when I'm ready to reapproach it, I get myself on, okay, I only do this many rows of the yoke a day. I think I'm getting close to the halfway point in the yoke. But you can see that's a lot of rows on a US 2. So... And it means too, like, your yarn usage is up. Like, I think normally I can get a fingering weight sweater in 3 skeins of yarn, and I think I'm going to end up with 4.5 to 5 skeins in this sweater because it's dense. It is that dense. So I started that one July 23rd of 2025. So I started it, apparently July was like my cast on month. I'm sure there's plenty of data to show that. All right, this next one was cast on for a stocking class at Woolmarket Fibers, and it just wasn't done. Wasn't finished. This is the Mix It Up stocking. This is the Mix It Up stocking, and I started it in the green and white. I think I might leave it green and white because it does look cute. Anyway, it's fine. It just hasn't been done, and it's stranded color work. I did enjoy the corrugated rib, very much so. Yes, I have an arrow at the bottom of the rib. No, I'm not ripping it out. Love it, but again, I'm just burnt out on stranded color work. So I think this might be a Christmas in July moment. It might be a, hey, I'm on spring break. I could sit down and knock this out because it's worsted weight yarn. I think that could be the moment. So that's number 3. Number 4. This one I think is my next oldest whip. Sorry, the stocking was cast on November 15th of 2025 and obviously has not finished yet. So this is older than the Stephen West MCal. I cast this on September 25th of 2023. It is that old. No, it's not older. It's a year younger. So it will have its 3rd birthday this year. So yeah, I need to finish it before its 3rd birthday. This is the Half and Half Triangles wrap by Pearl Soho using the called for yarn linen quill in the, there goes the stitches, in the colorway Fresh Pickle. Can we see why Hannah's frustrated with this pattern? And I did the smaller size, but it's still a smaller size is 4 skeins of fingering weight yarn on a US. I think I'm on a 2. They called for a 3, but I'm looser gauge. So has a Basset Hound stitch marker. I do not know who this is by. I think Charmed and Dangerous. The bag is by Stolen Minutes. I'm about halfway. This one, I don't know how. It's just garter back and forth. And some people love that. And see, every time I bump this, like the yarn is very slippy. It is very, very slippy. I don't know. I think I'm just burnt out on this project. It's the never ending garter. It'd be one thing if it was just like a moment, but it's the never ending garter. So if this is a gift for a lady I went to church with. She has moved away, but she, dealt with a lot of skin sensitivities. So linen quill was one of the only yarns that she really could tolerate on her skin. So it's for her. If it was not for her, I would have ripped it out a long time ago. Hands down, would have been done. So I don't know. That might just be I dedicate you to car knitting for a very long time. All right, last one. This is the one that I think is going to take 3 months. It really could take 3 or 4 months, and I'm not going to rush it because this is going to be done when it's done. This is like my magnum opus, and yes, I have it double bagged. This is another Sassy Sacks by Yachty bag. Make sure I don't mess her up here. There's a lot of needles going on. Okay. This is the Instant Crush. That's the back side, I think. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. Let me just show it this way. This is the Instant Crush by Joji Locatelli. You can see I've split for sleeves. I've got needles everywhere. I didn't want to do waist yarn on this. I might go back and change that decision. It is in Woolmarket Fibers, Surrey Alpacca DK, and what is the blue? I don't know if I have the ball band for the blue. I think this is Lang Yarns Cashmere or something. It's a DK cashmere. Oh, that's a needle about to come out. That's not good. Goodness, this sweater's a lot. It's a lot. I feel like I have a better photo somewhere of me wearing this because I did try it on when I split for sleeves. This one is the one that it's stranded color work all the way down. There's no break. There's no stockinette really. There might be a single stockinette round here or there in between the color change, like as the colors change, but that's it. Yes, I have it in a Walmart bag. I'm trying to do everything I can because this yarn is precious. So that's all the whips. The Instant Crush. The Instant Crush was started August 31st of 2024. I had no business casting on that sweater a month before I got married. I just want to say that was an insane choice by past me. So you see I got 5 whips. I would love to walk into 2027 with no whips. My goal was to walk into 2026 with no whips. Obviously, that's not happening. But considering that there's a lot of stranded color work going on here, it makes sense why these have lingered. So I think my biggest goal is going to be to pace it out and have short projects in between. And that brings me to my other goal of 2026. I want to do the 26 pairs in 2026. It might end up being 26 socks, which is 13 pairs, and that's fine. Would be fine with that. Because then I could still have 26 projects done in 2026. It would be fine. But I have a huge stash of sock yarn, and I love my socks. I wear my socks every day, pretty much. If I wear socks, they are hand-knit socks. I don't really wear any other socks. So with that, I think the goal is to create boxes of socks for every quarter. And so getting 26 pairs done in 2026 would go a long way towards filling out those boxes where I could really split them out. And I think I wouldn't be wearing the socks as many times in a year, so it would help them last longer and look better longer. And then eventually I could start making socks, more socks for other people, because my sock stash would be filled and would not need a lot of replenishing, or not as much as what I would need right now. With that, I'm going to show you my first cast one. I think this is going to be my first cast on. My husband helped me pick this out. This has been sitting in my stash for a whole year. Maybe even 2. Does it say what year? I think this is 2 years old. So this is Fangirl Fibers. This is from her Doctor Who 4 Weeks of Christmas box. It was 2 years ago. This is from the Doctor Who special, The Snowman. It's an 80-20 full 100 gram with a 20 gram mini. So I think I thought about casting these on for my husband, but he wants solid black socks, which is fine. So these will go for me. And I'm thinking either the Thursday Night Socks by Sock Witchery or a cabled sock pattern. So there's a lot of options here. So that's my goals. Whip down, knit socks, and I think I'm giving myself permission to cast on other smaller projects. I don't think I have any business casting on a sweater right now or a large shawl, but a mitten, a sock, a hat, something like that that can be on the go pretty easy. I think, yeah. I totally, if I'm up on my sock quota or if I'm using my sock yarn up, that's going to be the bigger goal. So, and really stashing down. The beauty of living in this house, I have my stash readily available and I can see it, and I'm looking at it right now. So I'm looking over there. So I can just go in there and pick out what I want and already know, okay, these socks are going for this quarter sock box. I'm going to knit this pattern, and I can do it. And I can knit a couple rounds on my lunch break. And I think knitting 2 pairs of socks a month is very achievable. And then that still means when I come home every day from work, I can be working on whatever big whip I have, but I get the break of when I'm traveling in the car. I still feel like I have knitting, because most of these projects you saw here, they don't travel well. They just don't. I have to have a chart, or I'm counting rows, I'm doing math. I can't stop mid-row. So having socks on the go, I think, is going to be crucial. So I hope you've enjoyed your new year. I hope you had a good celebration into 2026. Hope you've been well. Thank you if you stuck around to the end of this video for watching. Thank you for watching me throughout 2025 and for being here after my long hiatus. I really appreciate that. And if you have your plans nailed down for 2026, please post them below. I love reading your comments. I know I don't always respond. I try to at least always leave a heart, but I love reading them. So please share your plans for 2026, and I will see you soon with another video. All right, bye.